In this video I fought the dragon using VFX.
The plan was to have a dragon land on the ground in the first shot, then showing a sword grow in my hand, and then me running towards the dragon. After filming, I tracked the first shot using After Effects.
I always try to track in After Effects, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't.
If it doesn't work, I can still spend time in Blender doing a manual track. For the dragon, I found this model online and downloaded it. Since I'm not an animator, I was lucky that there were animations included. Even though they were messed up, it was still easier to fix them than to do it all from scratch.
I wanted to change the color of the dragon.
So I created a chroma key using the separate color node set to HSV, and then comparing the different color values to create a mask.
Here is a before and after. For blending between animations, I went into Houdini and used the agent clip workflow.
Then I prepared the dragon geometry for simulation.
While filming it was raining, so I knew I wanted the dragon to kick up the water from the wet grass, which I could accomplish by doing a smoke sim.
I scattered points on the ground and projected all the points from the dragon onto the ground, a bit like a shadow. Then I used the velocity I also transferred to determine where the smoke would emit and where not. In the smoke sim I used the velocity from the dragons to drive the kick up. Then for the rain that was still in the air, I created a particle sim which constantly spawns new particles above the dragon. I used the pop advect by volumes to stir them up while the dragon moves. After simming I used a UV project node and some quick code to delete all the points that were not visible on the camera. I also played around with the grass simulations using vellum hair.
But in the final render it was not even visible, so I could have spent the time doing something different.
Then I brought everything back into Blender for rendering. I used a plugin called Geoscatter to populate the ground with grass, so that the dragon would be better integrated into the environment. The third shot was basically the same setup. Thanks to the procedural nature of Houdini, I was able to just copy and paste everything, and then plugging in the new animation on top.
This time I wanted the dragon to breathe fire.
So I looked up some references and used this clip from Game of Thrones. They used a flamethrower on set, so I created a particle sim to simulate the liquid. I animated the start and end points by hand. Then I created a pyro sim using these particles as an emitter. After simming I used the pyro bake node for the nice inverted crispy effect. In Blender I rendered two paths, one without the fire and one with all the lights turned off and only the fire as an emitter. This gave me more control in comp with the fire and the illumination.
For the second shot I used this scene from the Rings of Power as an inspiration.
Back when the show aired, I modeled and shaded this dagger. The growth is just a simple VDB morph in a solver using the final sword as target shape. Then I just emitted smoke from the difference between the current and the previous frame. In comp I created the glow and the fiery look using a mask I rendered. Then after retiming the final video and adding sound to it I was left with this.